Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we'll be checking out the F-16CG Block 40, an American Tier 7 attacker that costs 19,000 coins. Currently it's the only dedicated attacker in this tier, and it's pretty good at that role. It does have some air-to-air capabilities, but they are somewhat limited because they don't have any radar missiles, and while the M9Ms are good, they can't be used in every situation. Now we'll take a look at the situation where the F-16CG was used as a fighter. I didn't bother taking the M9Ls as I don't have any radar missiles to complement them. I saw a J-10 fly behind the terrain and I followed a flight path I thought he would take, which ended up giving me a nice kill. An F-16 was either hardlocking me or has launched an AIM-7 at me, so I just flew behind this mountain to make him lose his lock. You don't get too many countermeasures in this plane, so conserving them by dipping into the terrain instead of chaffing is important. After flying over the mountain, I was surprised to see 4 enemies in front of me. If there were no teammates near me, I would have died quickly. Now I'm in the middle of the enemy team and I'll try to destroy one enemy at a time. The launched M9M goes for the flares and I merge with multiple enemies. I'll have to keep an eye on all of them and make sure they don't gun me down. Here I was pretty sure I was going to die soon.
I tried doing the one thing this plane excels at, and that is rate fighting.
It will work against this J-10A, but I saw multiple F-16s were in this dogfight, so sooner or later they will be able to get a gun solution on me. By now I was completely blacked out, and all I could do is try to eliminate a couple enemies to relieve the pressure. I'll keep turning because I saw 2 enemies were now in front of me, so I fired an M9M at both of them and unfortunately only one hit. I stopped turning for a bit to remove the blackout effect and get a general idea of who was around me. I only had one M9M left, so I needed to save it for someone I knew was going to die to it. And this F-15 seemed like a prime target, which it ended up being. At this point my entire team was here, so I only had to worry about 2 more aircraft. I dipped below the terrain and soon spotted an F-16. I tried to get a hand-on shot, but a combination of my poor aim and his jinging didn't allow me to do that. Then another J-10A appeared, and if I had a missile here, he would have died. I tried to get a shot in, but he was simply too far away. He was able to down one of my teammates, then he maneuvered a bit for some reason before deciding he had enough and turning around. It seemed like he didn't acknowledge my existence at all, because he went after one of my teammates while an enemy was on his 6 shooting at him. This allowed me to get one last kill before I died to an Su-27. Now let's focus on its performance in general. This is a great dogfighter. It may not have the best turn rate in this tier, but it has a great energy retention which allows it to maintain its optimal speed for as long as it wants to. This allows you to dogfight pretty much anything. If you're facing a fighter that excels in one-circle turns, you can trap them in a raid fight where there's a high chance you'll win. Even if an enemy third parties you, you'll have enough energy to dodge his guns or missiles. You also have one of the highest thrust to weight ratio and roll rates in this tier, making your aircraft feel even more nimble to fly. There is a downside to your ability to maintain your optimal speed, and that is that you will black out sooner or later, as you'll consistently be pulling 8 to 9 Gs. The gun present on this aircraft is the 20mm M61A1 Gatling gun. You get 511 rounds when maxed, which isn't that much considering you fire 100 rounds every second. Trigger patience is required and holding down the left mouse button on the green lead indicator isn't recommended. The gun is also slightly off-centered, so you have to keep that in mind while aiming. Otherwise it deals a decent amount of damage. A well-placed shot can easily disassemble an enemy aircraft. The best ammo belt is the Tracer's belt, but if you think you can aim well, you can equip the Stealth belt. As I've already mentioned before, this aircraft gets no access to radar missiles, which makes the missile selection a bit limited. The 2 different bombs and decent rockets will help you excel in ground strike roles. The countermeasure count is okay. Get a total of 90 of them, with 30 beam flares and 60 chaff. You drop one of each, so utilizing the 5 key to switch between countermeasure modes can be useful. The only stock missile of the F-16CG is the AIM-9L, an all-aspect infrared heat-seeking missile. For a stock missile it's actually pretty decent, being quite maneuverable and having decent range. It's no R-73, so don't fire it in high off-bore shots and expect it to hit, unless you've done so from a large enough distance. If fired from high enough, this missile can hit unaware targets from around 7 km, but if they flare or change the aspect right after the missile was launched, it will not hit the enemy. Otherwise, it can ignore flares in close range rear aspect shots where the enemy doesn't cut their afterburner. That can be set for head-on shots, where one flare is enough to distract the missile. If you're only going to bomb in this aircraft and don't really care about air-to-air capabilities, this missile will do just fine. The better missile you can purchase for 220 upgrade points is the M9M, an all-aspect infrared heat-seeking missile with suspension tracking RCCM. Performance-wise, it's pretty similar to the M9L, having almost the same weight and very similar booster. The M9M can pull a bit more, but in a regular match, it's not really noticeable. The addition of an RCCM makes it much more challenging to flare. To successfully do that, you must cut your afterburner, flare, and turn. If you don't turn, the missile's inertial guidance will lead it towards your aircraft. However, in head-ons, it's still easily flareable. Such launches are not recommended. Firing it from too close also isn't recommended, as it has a noticeable guidance warm-up delay, which will make it flash jet for a bit of time after being launched. Overall, a pretty good infrared missile. It is a bit expensive, but if you want to attack enemy aircraft after bombing, it's essential to get. The first bomb we'll be taking a look at is the LDGP Mk, or the 500-pound bomb. You get it for free, and even if you carry the max amount of 12, you can't fully destroy a base. With that in mind, you'll want to aim for the barracks, or areas with a high concentration of ground targets. Compared to the other bombs this thing can carry, they don't hinder performance too much. But if you get dragged into a dogfight before you reach a base, you'll definitely want to drop them. They do reload, so you won't have to fly back to base to rearm. After bombing this base, I naturally had multiple enemies trying to go after me. An F-18A launched an AIM-7 from pretty far away, and as you can see, I had plenty of time to notch it, so it obviously didn't hit me. Not knowing if either of them was going to fire another radar missile at me, I flew low to the ground and tried to go towards the terrain for cover. At this point, I was starting to pre-flare as I was in eye range, and having to deal with an M9M is not in my current interest. I launched a missile at him, and then I merged with both enemies. The F-18A already got his nose around, so I went for the full commit head-on, which I ended up winning with a quick shot. Now I just had to deal with the J-10A, which shouldn't be too hard, as all I had to do was bait him into a raid fight. But one of my teammates came to assist me, so I ended up with one kill. We're yet again in a situation where I just dropped off my bombs, but this time I still had some on me, so I quickly got rid of them, seeing this was a 1v3. One enemy appeared behind me. I knew there were two other guys assisting him, so I couldn't fully commit to him yet. I saw the second guy and he was flying an F-4J. Most probably, I didn't see him as a threat here, but that mistake should not be made. He can launch an M95 anytime, but because I was pre-flaring, he didn't do that. I spotted the third guy who was flying a Mk-29, and dealing with him was rather easy. I just had to win this head-on. I decided to turn around for the F-4J, which almost ended up killing me with his AIM-7F, but ultimately he contributed to the Earth's unbeaten KD. And then I spot another enemy flying an F-18, and dealing with him has proven to be challenging, especially if I have another guy on my 6. At the same time, I completely ran out of flares, and if this J-10A decides to fire a missile at me, it's over. Luckily, the one he did fire couldn't pull into me, and I decided to try and go for the reversal, which against him won't work most of the times. I noticed the F-18A is directly in front of me, so I fire my last M9M at him and it ends up hitting. The J-10A dies in the background and we can move on with the video. The second bomb this airplane can carry is the LDGP Mk or the 2000-pound bomb. It can be obtained for 40 upgrade points and it's excellent at destroying enemy bases. Two well-placed 2000-pounders can destroy 75% of a base, which is the minimum amount destroyed required for a base to respawn. These bombs affect your performance a lot, so I suggest only taking 3 instead of the maximum 4. That way you can reliably destroy one base and you can carry 5 missiles for self-defense. Final dogfighting clip we'll be taking a look at today is against an F-14A and the Mk-29. The F-14A does the classic thing of firing an A-54 at you from way too far away in a head-on, allowing you to easily notch it. At this point I'm already in infrared range, so I'll occasionally drop a flare just in case. I turn to dodge the Mk-29's guns and notice these two will not give up on me, so I'm forced to drop my bombs and fight them. I'll cut my throttle a bit to lose some speed, so I won't be pulling 10 Gs constantly. The Mk-29 fired an R-73, which I was easily able to flare, and the F-14A almost got a shot in, but luckily I noticed this in time and chinked his rounds. Now I had them both where I wanted them. All I had to do was simply pitch down and claim my kills. The F-14A got killed by my teammate and the Mk-29 died to my gun. You also get a rocket, the Hydra-70 M229, which you can purchase for 20 upgrade points. Rockets have recently been buffed a lot, so they are a viable alternative to bombs. You will need to do multiple passes to fully destroy a base, but they weigh much less than bombs. 84 rockets, which is the maximum amount you can carry, weighs as much as one 2000 pound bomb. So if you've got the patience, you can strafe enemy bases with these Hydras. Lastly, let's place the F-16CG on this tier list. After everything we learned today, I'll put it into a low A tier. Don't get me wrong, it's a very fun aircraft to fly, but the lack of radar missiles and somewhat low countermeasure count can make this aircraft a bit challenging to fly, especially for a beginner.